Good morning, everyone. How are you today? I hope you are doing well. So, I am J.R. Bugarin from Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in English. So, today I am going to talk about one of the broadest topic one can discuss. They say that by looking for the past, we can understand the present. So, today we're going to discuss the history of the Philippine educational system, and let us also see how the nature and character of Philippine society are reflected in the education process in different periods of Philippine history. So, learning outcomes. After listening to this video discussion, you will be able to trace the history of the Philippine educational system. When we say educational system, it may be viewed as subsystem within social organization of its own. It has a system of status and roles, and body skills, values, and traditions. So, let's start with education during the pre-colonial period. In this period, education was informal, unstructured, and decentralized. Fathers taught their sons how to look for food and other means of livelihood, while mothers taught their daughters to do the household chores. This education was basically prepared their children to become good husbands and wives. Children are provided more vocational training and less than academics. Teachers in this period were tribal tutors, and they called it babaylan or katalonan. So move on to education during Spanish era. Unlike the pre-colonial, in this era education was formal and organized. It was authoritarian in nature. So what do you mean by authoritarian? Yes, authoritarian is favoring or enforcing strict obedience to authority, especially that of the government. In this era or in this period, Spanish missionaries were the teachers. So the educational instructions were religion oriented. They taught about religions like Christian doctrines, sacred songs, music, and prayers because they were required for confession and communion. And next, we have the Educational Decree of 1863. So, in this period, law gives the Filipinos a complete system of education from elementary to the collegiate level. The law also provided for the establishment of elementary schools in all municipalities in the country. Although religion was the core of the curriculum, it includes subjects like reading, writing, arithmetic, history, Christian doctrines, once again, Spanish language, vocal music, agriculture for the boys, and needleworks for the girls. In this period, attendance in school was compulsory from ages 7 to 12. So let's move to education during the American regime from 1898 to 1946. The Americans promoted democratic ideals and democratic way of life in this period. The schools maintained by the Spaniards class for more than 3 centuries were closed because of the fall of Spaniards, but were reopened on August 29, 1898 by the Secretary of the Interior. A system of pre and compulsory elementary education was established by the Malolos Constitution. And in May 1898, the first American school was established in Corregidor. and shortly after the capture of Manila in 1898 or in 1899, 7 schools were opened in the city. Training class was done through the schools, both public and secular, named by chaplains and military officers of the U.S. Army. The Department of Public Instructions also set up a three-level school system. So the first level was considered as 4-year primary plus 3-year intermediate or 7-year elementary curriculum in total. The second level was 4-year junior college and later a 4-year program. So let's move on to the Commonwealth period from 1935 to 1942. Free education in public schools was provided all over the country in accordance with the 1935 Constitution. Vocational education and some household activities also provided in this period, like sewing, cooking, farming were also given importance. Education also emphasized nationalism so that students were taught about the life of Filipino heroes. Good manners and disciplines were also taught to the students, and the vocational education and some household activities were also given importance in this era. Next, we have the Japanese occupation. Aims of education during Japanese occupation are make people understand the position of the Philippines as a member of the East Asia Co-Prosperity Sphere, eradication of the idea of reliance upon Western states, particularly the US and Great Britain, fostering a new Filipino culture based on the consciousness of people as Orientals, elevating the morals of the people, giving off overemphasis to materialism, diffusion of elementary education, and promotion of vocation education, striving for the diffusion of Japanese language in the Philippines, and the termination of the use of English in schools, and developing the people the love of labor. So let's move on to post-colonial period. Education aimed at the full of realization of the democratic ideals, the way of life. In this era, curricular offerings in all schools, the life and works and writings of Jose Rizal shall be included in all levels, especially the Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo. The fundamental aims of education in the 1973 Constitution are the following. 1. Foster love of the country. 2. Teach the duties of citizenship. 3. Develop moral character, self-discipline, scientific, technological, and vocational efficiency. And that's all. So now the question is, why do we need to study all of this? So why do we need to study all of this history? Dewey, one of the earliest philosophists, explains why study of history of education is very important and valuable. He gave 3 reasons. 1. Educational issues and problems are often rooted in the past. The study of the educational history can help us understand and solve today's problem. 2. Realistic effort to reform education begins with present conditions, which are a product of our past. By using our past, we can shape our future. And lastly, the study of education's past provides a perspective that explains and illuminates our